Well, people actually went into space. We're going to be talking about the Starcruiser and all the feedback we've been hearing. We're going to talk about a little bit of a preview of the Flower and Garden Festival coming to EPCOT and much more tonight on ParksCenter. Welcome to ParksCenter for February 27th, 2022. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Before you go any further, folks, please, if you haven't already, like this channel, like this show, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel for other great content, and let's just, without further ado, let's get into this panel we got for you right here tonight for your enjoyment, Mr. Coach Layton. What's going on, buddy?
How we doing? It's game time. Let's do it. I'm interested to see what you got for a Chiron for me. We'll see what's happening.
Well, you know what? I said Mr. and Coach, so I said two of your familiars, so we're good. And Desi?
I can do this all day.
Okay. And other Rob.
Good evening, everyone. Great to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being on, man. I appreciate you coming back on. Tonight we got a lot of Disney news to cover, so we're going to start with the Disney news. So if you're trying to avoid Starcruiser spoilers, that's going to be at the end. So don't worry. You got plenty of time to soak up all of the stuff that we were going to talk about. We're going to divide it up, starting with Disney World. And Genie Plus news. There was some interesting stuff that came out about Genie Plus. You know that we have a complicated history here on ParksCenter with Genie Plus. You know, the idea that they would take away a free service and replace it with a paid, you know, I'm okay with you giving a paid option as long as the free's still there. I think the free going away was a little bit of the problem. But there was one thing that happened this week that was, I feel like this one's not as interesting, so let's get this one out of the way first, is that Genie Plus is no longer available in advance for one-day tickets at Walt Disney World. I'm going to start with this, and Coach, when was the last time you bought a one-day ticket to Disney World, and do you think this is going to affect you?
This seems to be like a very much a spreadsheet type decision, where they said, you know what, if we take a couple of different things away and make it part of Genie Plus, then people will just add it to their ticket and go from there. So we're annual pass holders, so it doesn't really affect us. You know, love it. Gonna tell us the time. You know it. Time is they're trying to use the spreadsheets. That's what I got for you, Rob. I think it's pretty clear that it's a cost-benefit analysis. Unfortunately,
you're just throwing words around now, man. You're done. Rob, let me ask you. You know, they have said this is for, I believe, just Disney World and not Disneyland. Can you think of any rhyme or reason for why they would put this in place?
Yeah, I think that there's a significant large number of people who go to Disneyland for a day pass, and getting those people to incentivizing them to buy a 2-day pass is probably not as important as it is over in Orlando. So I go back to Coach. It's really about, you know, spreadsheet people going through and determining where to get the largest lift for sales.
Yeah. Well, the exciting thing, and we'll let Desi go first on this one because I'm excited about this, is that they've added. So the original Genie Plus scenario in Disney World was you get everything that had a fast pass as part of a lightning lane, except the two best things in every park. Because why not? And so they took.
It was questionable what they picked.
Right, exactly. So they took what they thought were the two best things and said, you're going to pay if you want these. They're not part of Genie Plus. Over Christmas, they added the lowest tier in each park into your Genie Plus, which I thought was actually kind of a good idea, and it sort of made me think, all right, now this is something that maybe I'm thinking I'd like to do. So they've done this again. Now through August 7th, you're going to be able to get Runaway Railway, Frozen, and Space Mountain included in your Genie Plus, which is cool. And the fourth one was Expedition Everest, which is under refurbishment right now. So I assume that's going to come once that one's back up and running, maybe. But Desi, why do you think that they're offering this now, and do you think they should just keep it?
Yeah, I think they should just keep it because I personally never $15 on any of those rides to get to the front of the line. I do have a friend with a daughter, and her would probably force her $15 to go ride Frozen and make sure that they could get to the front of the line. But I think for the vast majority of people, it seems like it would be a waste of $15 per person. It is not a $30 ride for me and my kid to go on. It's certainly not a $60 ride for my entire family to go on, any of those.
Well, and there are people who pay it.
It's just not the same caliber as Rise of the Resistance or Flight of Passage.
Yeah, I think the going rate for most of these was $7 or $8, and I don't, like you said earlier, I don't get why Space Mountain was the one. I feel like there are several other attractions that are harder to get into in the Magic Kingdom that should have gone on that list, but I guess everybody loves Space Mountain, so why not add that? But Rob, why aren't they doing this in Disneyland?
Because Disneyland cares about their guests more. I mean, I'm kidding.
This doesn't apply here.
Honestly, it 100% has to go back to adoption rate. So they're trying to show more value. They must have some sample data that shows that Disney World customers don't think there's enough value sitting in there, or not enough people were buying the Lightning Lane individual passes for those rides. So they're just combining the two to try to increase conversion rate for Genie Plus in general.
Yeah, they seem to, at least in this regime, don't really do things out of the kindness of their heart anymore. So I always think there is some evil plan that they've got about, kind of like Coach was talking about numbers earlier, that when you go in and they say, look, maybe not enough people are doing Genie Plus, what if we added that other tier in that maybe not a lot of people are paying that $7 or $8 to ride Space Mountain, so we'll just add it. That means more people will buy it. I'm more likely to buy it for that, because if I'm going with people who haven't been on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, who haven't heard all the haterade from this channel about Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, and they actually like it, then I think that might be one of the things that they would want to ride. So that's a good thing. I think that adding that back in makes it a little bit better and a little bit closer to what Max Pass was. So now
that's a good.
Go ahead.
So that's a good point, Rob. I think that it's about driving behavioral changes, right? So they wanted to increase people to buy Genie Plus in Orlando, but they didn't need to do that in Anaheim because we were just used to buying the paid version in Anaheim, so there wasn't a need to really drive those behavioral changes.
Yeah. No, and again, the big difference though to me about Max Pass versus Genie Plus is that when you bought Max Pass, you were buying it for your convenience, but if you didn't have the money or want to do that as an add-on, you could still get free Fast Pass, and now you can't. So that to me is the big thing. I know a lot of people are like, hey, time is money. It's valuable to me to be able to pay that extra to go and take my family. And I know Patrick, who has been on the show here as well, went and bought, after I had been talking about, he went and he just paid that money to get on Rise of the Resistance. And I'm like, dude, you're just making this worse. But again, I mean, it comes down to how much time is it worth, versus the money. So I definitely think, it's going to be a good time for you to buy it from now until August. So let's move on to AP offerings, because that's another thing that we've talked about with the AP offerings in the past, is that AP in Disneyland gets treated a little bit better. We had a whole show about, I think we had basically talked Desi into the idea that she needed to buy a universal annual pass because of all the things they throw out there. So, Desi, maybe you've seen the annual pass, we'll call them perks, I guess, that they're offering. They're free magnets. First of all, I am a sucker for a magnet, and when we call it free, I'm sure it is way, baked into the price of my ticket. But so they're doing not only this annual pass magnet, which is very cool, and they're also doing some pass holder exclusive candy and a drink, I think, at Jock Lindsay's, or a hidden menu item. I don't know that this is a big, huge deal, though, and I'm also thinking it's really weird that you would take something that is an annual pass perk and only give it away at the one place you don't need a pass to get into. Desi, thoughts? Mute? You're on mute. Let's just stare at Desi for a while. Can't hear you. Coach, why don't you comment on this one?
Just kidding. I'm not muted. So I think it's, you know, being an annual pass holder, the magnet thing has always been sort of a roulette, if you will. You hear about other friends that have gotten it mailed and you didn't get it, and then you had to call them, and then you have 4 annual pass holders in your house, but you only get 2. And I don't know. This seems like just another thing where they're trying to pander and slowly sort of dwindle the APs down to get it to where they want. It just seems like they're making those types of moves.
Yeah.
They could be doing so many different things that really wouldn't cost them a whole lot, even if it was different menu items and things of that nature. I don't know. This is another example of us being a second-class citizen, I think, in a lot of ways, which is unfortunate. So,
Desi, you want to try to talk? Can't hear you. Somebody's laundry's ready, though. Rob?
Yeah. So here's the obvious. I don't think anyone's seeing the obvious. They are giving out these magnets now so that when they turn back on new AP sales, they don't have to pay for the rest of the people to get magnets.
What?
Hello?
Do you really?
Hello?
Hi, we can hear you.
Yay!
Really loud, though.
Oh, no. How's that?
Sounds good. I'm sorry,
Okay.
our time is up, Desi. Thank you for all your input. It's been very great talking to you about that. We'll
Oh,
revisit
no.
that with you later. So, there's been more 50th anniversary information coming out. Some cool stuff for 50th, and honestly, this is the one that has my heart, and y'all can hate me all day for this one. These little keychains are something that I feel like as a child I wanted desperately and no one would ever buy for me. So now I don't care that they're $9 each. I'm gonna go buy both of these things if they're still available. Rob is the honorary second. I'm gonna go ahead and say second oldest on this panel. Tell me, did you ever see these things? And if so, did you ever need any? And also, before I cut to you, for the love of God, don't be on mute.
No, they're really cool. I do also remember as a kid wanting those little toys. I don't think my parents ever got them for me because I'm sure I got one and then we stepped on it and broke it and it hurts my parents' foot. But yeah, they are super cool and nostalgic. And if they're around when I'm in the parks next month, I'll get them as well.
Yeah, but let's be honest. They're kind of useless, and yet I need them both.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're
honestly aren't most of the things that most of the souvenirs that we buy, most of the merch we buy are useless. It's all about our hearts warm.
Yeah, exactly. So I need one thing to make my keys look more like I'm the janitor at the local school. Just one more thing to make it that much bigger. Desi, are you gonna buy these?
Probably not. No.
Yeah, I think so.
But I did have one originally back in the day.
Well,
Or my grandparents did.
Oh, wow, grandparents. You didn't even say parents. You just went right to grandparents. Wow. See, why did we let her on this show? What about these, Desi? Is this something that's on your wish list?
No, I don't think you will ever find me in Crocs of any kind, no matter how cute they are or how cute the little medallions are on them. But they are cuter than some of the other ones I've seen.
I don't know. I mean, I want to see Coach walking around in the ones that like have the map pattern
Like
on
the
them.
map?
Yeah, I feel like that's what he should be doing. We've also got these, which again is man, I don't even know. Getting all 50 of these blind pack is probably going to cost $5,000. I'm just putting that number out there. So they've got the second set of the Fab 50 pins that are out there. I will probably try to buy them, but that's just because, again, I have a problem. And you guys get to witness it every week. And nobody tries to reach out and help me. And everybody's just like, that sounds like a great idea, Rob. You should totally spend your money on that.
If I admit that you have a problem, then I have to admit that I have a problem. So
that is
therefore...
fair. I think that's why we all work well together, isn't it? Is we all have the same like basic problem. And then there is the new stage show, which doesn't really cost you anything once you get in the gates. There's a new stage show that debuted this week, Mickey's Magical Friendship Fair Castle Stage Show. I don't know. Desi, have you seen this in person, or have you watched the video of this one on the site?
I haven't seen it in person, but we've watched the video about 5 times. Between this and the Peppa Pig road trip, it's all my kids want to watch, so they're obsessed with it. They love it.
Did you say, "Hey kids, you could actually go see this in person someday," or you
Yeah,
don't
I
let your
did.
kids go?
I gave them the option between going to see this or going to see Peppa Pig, and apparently we're going to Peppa Pig next weekend.
Wow,
I
that's
know.
I feel like you need to have a talk with your kids. I mean, the loyalty needs to lie with Mickey. Mickey above all else. That should be a thing.
Right?
There's been so much with the 50th that has been on slow release. Some of it because of the supply chain, I guess, and some of it maybe because they're spreading it out over this 18-month extravaganza. But if you want to learn more about everything that's there, we've got it all compiled on our website, wdwnt.com. You can find the full guide to everything new for the Walt Disney World 50th anniversary. So there's the shows, the beacons, the cavalcades, and the food. All of it's there just for you. So go to the website and check it out.
Oh, that's a good reminder. I did want to try that chocolate pyramid.
It's phenomenal. It's one of the few things that I've tried for the 50th, and it is just, I would have paid whatever they were charging for it. So, but that really is usually true with everything with me and Disney. So let's talk about the orange bird, because I'm a little crushed here. Orange crush. Get it? No? Nobody?
Ah!
So we talk about this with Figment all the time, is they use him for merchandising, but they don't really give him his due in the parks for an attraction anymore. He is a first-rate character in a third-rate attraction. I think we all agree to that. But with
Yeah.
the Orange Bird was something, again, from my youth when we had the little things that you look in keychains. We also had the Orange Bird and orange slushes. They don't do orange slushes anymore, but they did have the citrus swirl at the Sunshine Tree Terrace, and now they've discontinued that apparently for the next 2 years, so they can do things like the Kakamora floats and these one-off things. Does this matter to anybody else on here other than me?
I'm a Dole Whip person, not a citrus swirl person. But last weekend when I went, that booth was crazy jam-packed, and I was like, why is everyone here? I don't know if it's because they thought they were going to get the citrus swirl before it went away, but I think it was already gone at that point.
Well, and I mean, it's the thing that everybody has always gone to there. I mean, to get there is the citrus swirl, and now that's. I mean, I guess the novelties have taken over. The Kakamora float, things like that. But already
Kakamora float is delicious, though. I would take a Kakamora float over citrus swirl any day. I'm sorry, unpopular opinion, I'm sure.
Desi. There we go. Anyway.
Oh, no. First I'm muted, now I don't have any picture.
It's fine. We're all good. We're all fine. Okay. So I was going to say that at one point, the Aloha Isle, which is where you get Dole Whip, was over by the Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse, and the Sunshine Tree Terrace was over by the exit to Enchanted Tiki Room, and because of the traffic that would go to Dole Whip instead, they swapped them. And so, I mean, the Sunshine Tree Terrace used to be over by the Enchanted Tiki Room, and they swapped them, and now they're just. I just feel like they're doing Orange Bird wrong. Again, probably just me. So let's move on to the
I
next
think.
thing.
Well, Rob, I think part of it is those machines are colder than, believe it or not, the ice cream machine. If you want a swirl chocolate ice cream, that's the best place to get it on property, because they run their machines. I asked the cast member about it last time I was there. It's like, why is the ice cream so much better there than everywhere else? They actually run those machines a little bit cooler and colder, so it's actually a colder type of consistency texture-wise. So I think that's part of it. So just as like a fun tip, if anybody's looking for if enjoys that kind of ice cream, especially in the summer when it's warmer out and hotter out, it actually won't melt as fast. So just a.
Do you promise?
Promise.
Okay, that's a Coach guarantee. There you go.
Take it to the bank.
All right, so Magic Bands, again, something I have a problem with is Magic Bands, and when I say a problem is that I need to have them all, and there have been some new ones that have come out. There are these limited release Magic Bands with Nemo and Winnie the Pooh, And then there are these limited edition. This one with Meet the Robinsons, which was a limited edition of 1,000 for the 15th anniversary, which is probably gone at this point. And then limited edition 4,000 for Turning Red and 2,000 for Easter for those, which, I mean, 4,000 for Turning Red and 1,000 for Meet the Robinsons. I feel, again, there's been like a miscarriage of justice, Rob. Do you like Meet the Robinsons?
You know what? That's too new for me. I think they make these for the collectors, right? For those diehard fans. The overwhelming majority of the casual Disney visitor or those who go frequently probably will have no interest in these smaller run special items. But they're really for people who are diehard fans, not really for the average.
Yeah, just 4,000 though. That seems like a huge run, and for a movie that apparently was not good enough for them to put on the big screen, that just seems like a weird call to make. And then in the vein of Magic Bands, previously data bands, but now Magic Bands, we have this, which is exclusive to anybody that goes on the Galactic Starcruiser. And again, I see this, I start to like get itchy. I need this, but I don't need to go on the Starcruiser yet, and we'll talk about that later. So I harassed Tom about it, who said if I would just pay him half of what he's paying to go on the Starcruiser, I can have his second one. What a guy.
It's true. He's going on twice. He doesn't need 2 Magic Bands.
No. So here's the other thing about the Magic Band, though, is that Magic Band Plus was promised to us end of the year to be coming beginning of 2022, which...
Did they ever say beginning of 2022? I thought they just said in 2022. So it could be any time within 2022.
But all of these other Magic Bands are coming out, and I wonder if that has anything to do with it. Maybe there's like a truckload somewhere on a dock waiting for us for these Magic Band Plus, while all of these other Magic Bands are like, we got to get these things out, because once Magic Band Plus comes out, maybe people won't want these. But there's this new interactive features that they're installing, and we talked about the ones at the Magic Kingdom last week, and now they've got them installed at the statues over in EPCOT. And so there are these little speakers that they're hiding in the ground underneath all of these statues, so that there is some interactive piece coming, and I would assume that would fall in line with what's going to be happening with the Magic Band Plus. But you think that they're going to wait till like December 30th for these, Desi?
I think that they didn't say a specific time to give themselves a buffer, just in case they weren't ready when they thought they would be. I know that would be a shocker because Disney does everything on time, but I think that they didn't give a specific time just in case.
Yeah, I'm looking at this article that we had about it, and it says Magic Band Plus will debut in 2022 as part of the world's most magical celebration. So here's
no date.
Yeah. So again,
just
like
2022.
Like Tron, as long as it's out before the 18 months are up, then they're still golden. Pun intended. So that's that. Let's talk about characters, because one of the things that I feel like, and I don't mean this panel, I don't mean that, I just mean that the characters in the parks, because one of the things that makes Disney so special over anything else, it's your opportunity to go in and have some sort of interaction with your kids' favorite characters, right? And since COVID, they've been trying to find ways to slowly bring those back in. It's one of the things I've talked about in the past about you have a muted experience when you go to the parks, that you're not able to hug Mickey is just one of the things. And now they're starting to bring them back, and in an amazing pun from our editors at WDWNT, for the first time in forever, Anna and Elsa are meeting again in the Royal Summer House. So if you haven't been in this, it's really cool. I love the interior of this place. I've gone in. I've met Queen Elsa. She's a nice person. So if you get
such a humble brag,
swing by. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say I know her, but
I mean,
we've talked.
Spoiler,
you know
but
of her.
She's in the outfit where she's not queen.
They call them both queen though at this point. Just saying.
Okay.
Uh,
It's a spoiler for anybody who hasn't seen Frozen 2, but yeah.
I feel like you should have seen that already, but that's just me. So, but when they do this now, you actually can go in and inside and see them, and they don't have their masks on either, so that's kind of cool. I mean, to me it is. But when you go in to see them, you are still blocked off in the same way that you were blocked off from like Santa with like the presents around so that you couldn't get too close. And it's the same thing where you can go in and talk to them and you can do the over-the-shoulder picture, but you still aren't at the point where you can go in and stand and talk to them. Coach, you went down with your kids. Did they have any problem with this kind of character experience when you were there?
I have a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. And my 5-year-old was trying to figure out why she couldn't hug all the characters. So definitely, it's kind of heartbreaking as a parent when they're used to that experience because they've gone many times when they could. But they're kind of used to it now. It's a different experience. Obviously, Disney's doing what they can. They're trying to get creative. I think the cavalcades have been really good. There is some caveats with that though. When you have a meet and greet with the cavalcade, like we met Mickey. In Magic Kingdom and walked out the door, and immediately when we walked out the door, he was on the parade float.
He's magic. He's magic.
So that was what I went with. I goes, did you hear that loud poof? And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, because he's magician Mickey. So there was a little bit of a timing issue on that one, but yeah, I think it's like anything else. Anything that allows more of the interaction part of it, I think is good. It's better for pictures. It's better for the experience. And there's other ways too. There's really no excuse. Like now, Minnie's back in Hollywood Studios. That took too long, in my opinion. It was indoors. They could have made it work. So now that stuff is back, it just disperses traffic a little bit and spreads people out. And it's good for everybody.
Well, one of the things that we'll talk about when we get to the Starcruiser is that there were influencers hugging on a Wookiee. I'm just going to say that was a thing. Rob, you're nodding your head really hard. You can't wait to get your hands on a Wookiee.
No, yeah, Wookiee and Gaia and all those other guys. It's funny. It's I certainly take COVID very seriously, but it almost feels like if you're willing to pay $5,000, we can bend the rules a little bit. Or maybe they think wealthy people are less likely to be sick. I don't know what the calculations were, but somehow they're making exceptions.
Yeah, Desi, is that true that wealthy people are less likely to be sick? Tell us.
Maybe they're better able to pay for better health care. But speaking of hugging a Wookiee, if I could hug any Wookiee, I'm sorry to Chewbacca, I would love to hug Santo. Please make that happen. If Chewbacca is going to be on the Starcruiser, please make Santo a walk-around character in Galaxy's Edge.
Thoughts, Rob?
That's a huge diss on Chewbacca. That there's a huge legacy with Chewbacca. I can't believe he would just dismiss him for some other random Wookiee.
Have you seen Santo?
He's the whole package. He's what you want in a Wookiee.
He has a stable job. He's not out.
Desi's all about the bad boys. That's what it is.
It's true.
By the way, Rosita said in chat that something along the lines that Anna's the queen and that Elsa's just hanging out with the spirits. So.
Also, thank you for the super chat, Rosita.
Yes.
As always, our queen of super chats.
Yes, Rosita. Okay, I guess I'm not a true Disney fan. I just don't buy any Disney stuff. I wanted some 50th stuff and that was sold out. Oh well. I'll just give all the super chat. Funny show tonight. Well, we try. We do try. We got to keep it light. You
don't have to buy the Disney stuff. You can always go to the carousel of products.
We'll talk about that later. However, we will not talk about Bruno as per usual. As per the embargo that we have, we will not talk about Bruno. So let's talk about Flower and Garden, though, because honestly, before I knew about the Festival of the Arts, Flower and Garden was always my favorite. It happened in the spring. It was really cool because all the topiaries and just all the flowers and the gardens that I could never afford to put in my backyard. And all the food booths that you would normally get with like a food and wine festival, and then the concert series, the whole everything about it was amazing. We've gotten more information about it. It actually starts this coming Friday.
I thought it started Tuesday.
Does it start Tuesday? On the 2nd?
I thought it started... Oh, does it start on the 2nd? I thought it started on the 1st.
Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and assume that it starts this week, and we'll just leave it at that. But,
okay.
Well, one thing I do know is that DCA's Food and Wine Festival does start on Friday, but March 2nd, which is Wednesday, is when the Flower and Garden Festival starts. So apologies for that one, but I'm not going to be able to get to it before then anyway. So March 2nd is when it starts. But the good news is it runs through July. So it used to just be March through May, and now it runs through July. But there's a lot of cool stuff. But again, I feel like showing this much Orange Bird stuff when you're cutting back on that citrus swirl is just I don't think that's fair. But they've got a lot of cool merch here. This is Desi hanging out in her backyard with her cool apron on, or
I can't believe they got that candid photo of me.
Yeah, exactly. And then they've got pictures of some of the cool stuff there. Here's me and Coach and Rob hanging out at in the park, just the three of us. But let's talk about this. There's a new seating area that they've put together in front of the Creation Shop, and I feel like this looks like it was taken on the quad at some random university. I'm sorry, Coach wants to be noticed. He wants to see this. He's claiming to be Donald Duck in our scenario, which
he's underrepresented and underutilized.
Okay, dibs on Jose Caraca.
That's all.
All right, so let's talk about this though. Do you disagree? I mean, you spent all this money on reimagining Epcot, and maybe this is just temporary because they know they need the seating. But when I look at this, I don't think Epcot, the world of the future. I think Home Depot. I mean, like Rob, I see you nodding your head. Do you agree?
I see a budget cut and them trying to bring in more people than they have seating for. So I'm personally really excited. I'm actually going to go to Flower and Garden. I'm looking forward to seeing Kool and the Gang in concert the day that I'm there. But my wife and I, it's going to be an adult only trip. So my wife and I will definitely spend some time and enjoy Flower and Garden.
I don't really want to know what happens with you on an adult only trip. So, but let me just say, this rock right here, this gray rock, this is the one that makes the whole thing feel like Epcot, because that little planter is the only thing that looks like they really sort of tried to make it look.
Why? Because it's pointy?
It looks like a vase that I bought in the Creation Shop.
Well, there you go. I mean, but because it's pointy. Yes, exactly, because it's pointy. That was my whole point there. But like, this looks like they were like, hey, do we have any flowers and trees and stuff in the back there? Yeah, we got a few. Put them in some pots and let's shove them up against the Creation Shop. I mean, right? No? Just me? Okay, sorry. Like I said, I love this.
I think it's cute.
This looks like something to me. Well, then this bathtub. It goes with the theme.
They had the bathtub full of ice cream for the 50th, so they're just trying to...
Didn't they just renovate Beach Club and they just took all the leftover furniture and moved it over there? That's kind of what it looks like, doesn't it? Kind of looks like that.
Yep. All right. Well, again, it's not like I'm not going to go. There was a lot of food there. The booths are looking amazing, and I'm betting that probably by the time I get there, this will be sold out. Rob will have bought the last one, and then he's going to put it on eBay, and he's going to make me pay twice what it's worth. So thanks a lot.
I tried to get you the MagicBand at the last one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the AP one went like instantly, which again, the run on the AP festival band was like what, 1,200 or something like that, but I'm betting I'll be able to find one of the turning red ones when I get there.
We have a couple of super chats, Rob.
Oh, okay. Stephen Crawford, Coach, have some adult fun in symbol 182.
Interesting.
I'll
check in with the wife on that one.
Yeah, and then and then from Chief Leave. So how's that Coach Deep in the Plus coming? Fantastic. Thanks for putting that out there, Chief. We appreciate you.
Boy. There it is. Give the people what they want, Rob.
I don't think so. Anyway, so let's
Keep
talk
fighting the
about
good fight. We'll get it done.
Speaking of giving the people what they want, we've wanted a date for the Cosmic Rewind to open. I assume when they say things like, and we talked about this a little bit earlier with the MagicBand Plus, but I assume when they say things like it's coming summer 2022, that it'll be like September, and they can still put it out and it counts as September or as summer. So it was nice that we got the information that Cosmic Rewind, the Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, will actually be opening on Memorial Day weekend. But the way that we found out was a Disney executive, the Disney executive basically accidentally leaked it. So, you know, yeah, good for us that's a thing. But now I guess that the pressure's really on for them to get this thing open. But we did get some new concept art of the queue area, the loading area for this, so that we can see all these people. I don't know. I love the group of people they've put together here. It's very fascinating. You can go to the website and check it out. But this dude right here who like isn't really sure where to put his hands, why would you put that front and center on a piece of concept art? I don't know. But
Never know what to do with my hands.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it looks very cool, although it also very much looks a little similar to the loading area for web slingers. So, you know, maybe they had saved some money on making that happen. I don't know. I'm excited about this attraction, though, and I am glad it's going to be open because I have a trip planned in June, and I was like, is it going to be open by then? And now we know for sure that it is going to be open. We've sent our reporters there every day. They're riding on the monorail. They're going to see, like, the latest, you know, get you the latest pictures of the ship that's sitting in front of the building and how they're trying to cover up this stand. That's a thing that they're still showing us every day. So it's pretty exciting that this is happening. I feel like, though, this thing should have been done, Rob, I feel like this thing should have been done a year ago. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it could have, you know, and obviously, again, you know, this was a calculation on, you know, what was the right period of time to drive increased demand into the parks. And hopefully they must believe that, you know, that it will open enough to take in that increased demand and drive revenue. So that's the one and only reason that I think they're opening it now. I am also hoping that there'll be some previews, so perhaps I can squeeze in. I'm gonna be there just you know, a week before it's scheduled to open. Hopefully I can get a shot to ride it. Otherwise, I'd hate to have to book another trip just to come back and ride the ride.
Yeah, I would hate for you to have to go back to the most magical place on earth. I'm so sorry for you. Desi?
The way he announced it was in a tweet where he said it's coming, or you'll be able to start writing it Memorial Day weekend. And then he retracted it. So I wonder if Memorial Day weekend might not necessarily be when it could be open to the general public, but maybe that's when they're going to start doing the AP previews.
Yeah, so here's the actual tweet. Just another day at the office, got to test ride, so somebody's getting to ride it, the new Guardians of the Galaxy, just at Guardians. That's weird. He's new to Twitter, I guess. Of the Galaxy roller coaster at EPCOT Center. Doesn't know how to spell that either. Yeah, there's a lot of problems. But it does say check it out starting in Memorial Day weekend. So, you know, that will be exciting, and I'm glad that he was able to spoil that so that now we can do that. I'm going to ask this question to you guys just out of curiosity, what you think. Coach, do you think that this thing's going to be virtual queue when it opens?
I would assume so. I think what we saw was what I like to call a generational, people that call things the Google and the internet and the Twitter. I have a sneaky suspicion that this executive went, I'm going to go on the Twitter and send a tweet, kind of why I wore the shirt. He doesn't know how to tweet, obviously. So I think it's just interesting to me that he would tweet a fake fan account with information that he shouldn't have. I would have actually paid for a lightning lane pass to see the conversation that was had with him with upper management after they found out about this. But yeah, I would suggest I would assume a virtual queue with an AP kind of preview, kind of like Rob thought.
Okay.
I'm not sure that they will.
You don't think they'll do
virtual? I don't think they're going to do it. I think they're going to go straight to lightning lane. Straight to paid, get as much money out of this as they possibly can. I don't see them doing free virtual queues anytime soon for anything.
Well, and at least in this area, you've got some section where people can do standby lines, right? So in the France expansion, there's no room really for standby lines. And so I get that they would, you know, maybe have done virtual queue then. But I do think that now that Genie Plus and Lightning Lane are in place, there's probably less. This will be the first attraction, I believe, to open since the Genie Plus and Lightning Lane have been in full effect. So it'll be interesting to see if they do virtual queue or not. Obviously, the app is set up that they can do virtual queue. They can probably call an audible and change the virtual queue if they wanted to. But I honestly feel like virtual queue. I'm hoping that that's still an option, because I would kind of like that to be a thing. But as long as there's standby and paid Lightning Lane, I'm happy to stand in line, especially to experience it the first time and see what the queue is like. So Stephen Crawford, thank you for the super chat. Mr. Morrell was also the Pentagon press secretary. He was a little more savvy. Yeah, you would think so. And also, I don't think ever, even when it was called EPCOT Center, it wasn't spelled that way. So I have no idea.
Maybe
where
he's
he pulled that one
French.
out. Maybe that's the thing. All right, so let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll come back and we're going to talk a little bit about Disneyland and some of the overseas parks as well. And then we're going to get into our Starcruiser conversation. So please stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Welcome to News Today with WDW News Today. I'm Tom Corliss. Here now, the news.
Oh, hello there. Can't get no privacy at all around this place. But I'll tell you what you can get. These fantastic t-shirts from the Carousel of Products. I don't often wear a t-shirt, but if I did, this would be the one.
Uncle Orville, there's a terrible racket coming from here in the bathroom.
John,
What's happening?
I was talking about t-shirts.
T-shirts? What's that? Why, it's the 12 Flags Over Epcot shirt from carouselofproducts.com.
Another good one.
Yes, go shop now. Just $20 at carouselofproducts.com. All of our t-shirts.
What's a .com?
I'll tell you around the next turn.
Welcome back to ParksCenter. Thank you guys so much for being with us tonight. If you have not already, please give us a like. It helps people to find the videos. And then also, if you subscribe to WDWNT, you'll get lots of great content, including News Tonight, which would, if you haven't watched it, explain that last commercial a little bit more, because it is a very strange, awkward commercial about the Carousel of Products. But Carousel of Products is where you can go buy the Disney stuff that we, as the Disney fans, put together, that we love, that we want. Coach is flexing his hat over there. It's the stuff that we would want and we make, and we hope that you guys like it too. So you can check it out, carouselproducts.com. Right now we actually have these Space Angels t-shirts from Sunny Eclipse, and then also the Sunny Eclipse t-shirt, and then also the Disney in the Streets, Universal in the Sheets that was in that commercial, and the 12 Flags one as well. It does weird me out when Tom reaches into the tub while Pete's in there to grab the shirt. I'm glad I wasn't in the studio for that, but I think what they did is
I didn't even think about that until you said that.
I think what they did, though, is then when they were done filming that, they took that bathtub and they put it out in front of the creation shop and they painted it yellow.
Yeah.
And they put some flowers in it, and it looks very nice over there. So, yeah, it's good
That's
stuff.
what Todd said in chat. He's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Good call, Todd.
So let's talk a little bit about Disneyland. Disneyland has been open now. It was closed for so long, and now that it's open, there's a lot of things that are finally coming back at Disneyland. But one of the things that's actually going away next week is Toontown. So Toontown on the 8th is going to be the last day that you can actually experience Toontown the way it is now. They're going to reimagine several things, but there's a lot of work going on right now in the park with it. So you can see that the hills, the Toontown hills, are being painted behind the park. You can get a look at it here. I'm glad these are coming back, and I'm glad it's getting a paint job, because that's one of the things. Just like Seuss Landing, it has these vibrant colors, and then they get washed out by the sun. So it's nice to see these coming back. In an interview with Ken Potrock, he was talking about some of the things that are going to be happening, and the Toontown will be more interactive. But when I look at this picture, it doesn't feel more interactive to me. It feels more open spacey, and I'm looking at those things outside the creation shop and thinking maybe they're going to clone that outdoor sitting area from the creation shop and put it in Toontown in California. I brought up Toontown last week on ParksCenter, and there weren't a lot of California fans on the panel. So Rob, Toontown, what do you love Toontown? Is this going to be weird for you when it gets reimagined?
I don't know that I've recall ever spending any time in Toontown.
Wow.
But it's great. I mean, obviously, you want the parks to look as great as possible, and maybe selfishly keeping some of the kids in Toontown and away from the rest of the park might increase my overall enjoyment of the parks. But honestly, I've never spent any time there.
Wow. This is just dawning on me now. Are you evil? Keep the kids away? Shove them in Toontown? Let them eat cake? What is your problem, dude? Come on. Wow. Just wow. I can't even with you right now. Let's talk about something else then. Let's talk about Desi's favorite attraction, Mickey's Runaway Railway. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is coming to the Toontown aforementioned, and you can see in this concept art those rolling hills painted behind it. But one of the things they're saying that it has some enhancements that Florida doesn't have, and because they're building this from scratch.
A storyline that makes sense.
Why don't you just go ahead, Desi, and you just here's your moment.
Well, as I was trying to say with the annual pass holder magnet before my headphone issues, I hate that design of Mickey. It is hashtag not my Mickey. I like the classic Mickey. I am very worried about Toontown, that when they close and they reopen, it will all be with this terrible looking Mickey. I will be horrified if they ever decide to change out the meet and greet Mickey or parade Mickey, like the Mickey that you meet in the parks. If he starts to look like this absolutely creepy, terrifying looking Mickey that we have in Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, I will be very upset. I will be even more upset if they do that with Goofy.
So first of all, who hurt you? When you look at this, you can see in front of it that there's a Mickey and Minnie.
They hurt my eyeballs with this.
The Mickey and Minnie are the traditional park Mickey and Minnie. They're standing in front of the Runaway Railway. So I don't think you have anything to worry about as far as that goes. But there's a line in here that I'm looking at, and I'm thinking if you are a marketing person, this seems like a very bad line. It's in Florida already. It's going to be even better here because it has enhancements that Florida doesn't have.
Oh, nice.
Probably true.
But, I mean, the whole thing is like...
They're not lying.
They're like, well, if you think it sucks in Florida, don't worry, ours is better. I mean, like, and I guess what they were saying, and I was going to say before you sprinkled hate all over it, is that when they were building this, they build it from scratch, right? So they can build it as large as they want to. They can put in more show scenes and all that kind of stuff. Traditionally, not something that Disney has been doing recently is, I don't know, making things bigger and better. So I think, Rob, this goes back again to kind of Disneyland. I feel like they give it a little bit more care, or do you disagree with that?
I think it's just because they weren't trying to repurpose the Great Movie Ride, right? So they're able to imagine it from the ground up and not, having to implement the tornado, for instance. They were able to imagine a ride from the ground up and build it. So I think that's probably the biggest difference.
Gotcha. Coach, did you take your kids on Mickey and Minnie, and do they hate it as much as Desi does?
No, my kids actually like Mickey and Minnie.
My kids love it.
Yeah, before I had kids, I went to Toontown. It's getting to a point where it definitely needs to get reimagined. I think, Rob, we all on this panel know why that copy was written. It was written by the same genius marketing exec that decided to tell all the park guests that they were too fat and they needed smaller portion sizes. So not exactly the greatest move on their part to say, well, if you think that's terrible, we're going to make it better across the country. What?
It reminds me of the movie Vacation, and I feel like I referenced that a lot on this show, but Eugene Levy is selling the car, the family truckster, to Chevy Chase. He goes, you think you hate it now, wait till you drive it. And I'm just like, that's what this feels like. So I look at this and I think it's going to be, it's a quest. It's a quest for fun. I think it looks like it's going to be cool, and I agree with you that most people, like, there was a repurposed thing to shove it into the Great Movie Ride, which I don't understand, and I still think most of us who are Great Movie Ride fans are puzzled by it. Some people who, like the guy down there in the corner, were like, good, get rid of the Great Movie Ride, it's fine. I think it should have been, I just think it should have been updated, and it would have been great, and with all the IP they have, it should have been the centerpiece that stayed. If they had made that in what is now Launch Bay, and, maybe broken out some of the back of that would have been fine with me. But I can't wait to see what this looks like there. I do think that reimagining, and I said this last week on ParksCenter, reimagining Gadget's Go Coaster as something else, I feel like it needs to be a character that kids know today, because I don't know that anybody really knows Gadget. And based on the trailer for the Rescue Rangers, doesn't look like Gadget's going to be a big part of that one either. So let's talk about food, because why not? I mentioned this earlier. The Food and Wine Festival is coming to California Adventure, this one on Friday. They've got some great food that they've showcased here, but one of the things that I look at is this peanut butter mac. Peanut butter and jelly mac.
Ew.
Okay, all right, fair. I've never done this. We're going to be there for opening day and bring you all the reviews. There's a lot of stuff that looks amazing here. There's a lot of avocado, but there's also this thing here, this hot dog in this pretzel bun, which I could eat with my face right this minute.
Hot diggity dog.
Yeah, there you go. Pander to that Mickey Mouse. And then, I mean, some of this stuff,
that's the real Mickey,
looks really good. This beyond.
Rob, I've had that peanut butter mac and cheese, by the way.
Have you really? And you like it?
Yeah, it's what I had
why?
left over. Because in college, when I had nothing else left in my fridge, that's what we ended up making. So.
Oh, well,
when I saw that, I was like, I literally have eaten this at some point in my life when we had 3 things in the fridge, and we're like,
when you had no choice.
That was kind of my point.
You wouldn't eat that like at a premium
We literally
price.
had a package of mac and cheese, and that was all we had, and peanut butter and jelly.
Was this in college?
It's as gross as it sounds. It was in college when we all had no money and we were broke.
Is there a chance one of your college roommates is now a chef at DCA?
No, but when I saw that, I immediately thought to myself, well, that's interesting. I can remember starving and having something to eat and going, well, that was a bad decision. We're never doing that again. So I have a feeling everyone that eats that will feel exactly the same way.
Let's talk about this, though. This thing on the right says frozen guacamole. It looks like a mint chocolate chip ice cream bar, but it's frozen guacamole. Again, since you live further toward the west, Rob, is this something you guys eat on a daily basis, or?
I am not a California native, but yes, sadly, you do see a lot of it all around. I'm going to be there on the 11th, and I'm actually looking forward to trying a few of these.
Yeah, and then like this pork belly. Oh man, that looks fantastic. There's a lot of this that looks really good, and there's a lot of it that's very weird. Living in North Carolina for so long, when the state fair rolls around, it was always exciting to see what food this year they were going to fry. Fried Oreos, fried peanut butter and jelly sandwich, fried Coke one year, fried candy bars. Yeah, fried candy bars. Just all of these things, and it's just that's what I look at when you're like, what can we freeze?
So
what can we put peanut butter and
good.
jelly on? Yeah. Well,
No.
Fried candy bars and fried Oreos are amazing. If you've never experienced those, you need to. You also generally have to take a nap afterwards and carry around like an AED because it's like an instant heart attack, but it's worth it.
Okay, one more. The maple bacon churros. See,
That doesn't sound as bad as the peanut butter and jelly mac and cheese. I love peanut
think
butter
they
and
went with
jelly. I love mac
yeah.
and cheese. I don't want them mixed together.
I feel like this is like an assignment where they had like a, like if you see like those pieces of paper, we have a list of these ingredients. Try to figure something out. And somebody raised their hand and went, everything goes good with bacon.
yeah.
And they went,
Well, I mean, the
let's
peanut
throw in
butter
a churro, and someone laughed and they took it serious.
the peanut butter and jelly milkshake at the Primetime 50s Cafe works. And that's one of those things.
Well, yeah, because it's a milkshake.
But
It's
that's
not
one of those
mac and
things originally,
cheese.
though, that you would have been like, "Ooh, that's weird," and then they were like, "Okay,
No,
you think that's
I
weird?
wouldn't. That
Let's put it
sounds
on."
delicious.
But also, it's just mac, so it's not mac and cheese. Because I think if they put cheese and peanut butter and also jelly together, then we have a health issue.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, we'll move on from that. That will haunt her nightmares now for the rest of the night.
Not as much as Goofy does.
Yeah. Entertainment.
Goofy is still haunting all my nightmares.
Entertainment
Goofy
is
eating
returning.
peanut butter and jelly mac.
Are we done, people? Are we done?
Sorry.
Children, please. Rob's got to get to bed. So when we look here, they've got this brand new ending to the Main Street Electrical Parade that they're put together for the 50th anniversary. It's going to have Encanto, Coco, Moana, Frozen, and more. This looks amazing to me, and it replaces the To Honor America finale, but it's themed around the It's a Small World. I think this is really an amazing thing. I guess it goes along with their look to try to be more inclusive, and so all of these are I think this is a really neat thing that they've done, and especially because I love the vibe of It's a Small World. So I think this is a really neat thing to put together. My only problem is it doesn't look like it matches the rest of it. I don't know. Desi, are you a huge Main Street Electrical Parade fan? If it looked all that
Yes.
different, would it bother you?
No, I don't think it would bother me. I'm just excited to have it or really anything back. So I think that it looks great. I'm a little sad that we won't have the America finale. Maybe throw Captain Rogers on there so that we can still make it have some IP in there. But I wish that we could have had both instead of a replacement. But I guess for the sake of international visitors and inclusiveness, I guess it makes sense. But I think the floats look great.
Yeah, no, I think so too. And it looks like this is going to make it 10 minutes longer, Rob? Are you headed out there for by the way, I looked at the calendar and April 22nd is gone for park passes. You cannot get a park pass on April 22nd when World of Color, Main Street Electrical Parade, and Disneyland Forever debut April 22nd. So, but I mean, Rob, how are you feeling about this?
That's exciting. I mean, anytime you see more of what we had before coming back, and in some cases them even making it better, that's super exciting to see. just the more normalcy and the more excitement bringing back and some actually reinvestment into the parks. Also exciting to see.
Yep. Coach, any thoughts?
I think anytime you can take an attraction that, it's a classic attraction, but you're still honoring it. I'm with Desi on that. I think we could have just added to it. But I think the inclusivity part of it is huge, right? I mean, it's you're reaching a new generation, but at the same time, you're creating that new nostalgia by bringing in, kind of welding them all together, which I think is always a good idea, right? When they added the water pageant and they honored the 50th and they threw some callbacks to those types of things, I think it's a good idea. I'm going to keep fighting for Tony's to switch to Tiana's Place. I think they should do that because Tony's is terrible and Tiana's an actual restaurant, and it makes way too much sense. So, just my thought on that.
Yeah, Pretty Cool in chat said, why can't we have both? Sam the Eagle will be upset. True.
Yes,
exactly. It's a salute to all nations, but mostly
we
America.
Could have had... Exactly.
Muppets.
We could have had a salute to all nations with this, but then mostly America and keep the America ending.
Yeah.
Dang, what a great idea.
There you go. So anyway, it's exciting that that's coming back finally. But the other thing that's coming back are trams. You know what? Trams are a thing that is crazy to me because I feel like it should have been there all along. Feels like that should have been a day one thing. They're open air. It just seemed mean to make people walk through the parking lot, in the mornings and at night when you have these huge parking lots to get to and from the parks. But more than that, I feel like trams are kind of your introduction, especially at Disneyland, to the park. Like as you're riding the monorail and you're headed to the Magic Kingdom or you're riding the ferry, it's this grand entrance to your day. And you're riding the monorail, and they're telling you like, oh, look over to your left is the Seven Seas Lagoon, and over to your right is Bay Lake, and it's exciting. It's part of that just the magic, I feel like, and you're being brought into this other world, which makes it different than King's Dominion and Six Flags, and sorry to say it, but Peppa Pig, Desi. But when you go
Don't
in,
be sorry.
When you go in and you hear that spiel, and it's like the whole driver, we're clear. Beep beep, like that's cool. Like that means we're going somewhere fun, and that's the beginning of that magic. And they haven't had that there. And I've said over and over again, why is it that Dollywood had had trams from day one, but here it is, it's February of 2022, and we're finally getting trams back at Disneyland. The one that gets me, and I think, Coach, you talked about this when you took your kids, is it's not just that presentation, but when you're excited and you're getting started to your day and you've already had to walk a mile or two just to get started.
Yeah.
That's a beating.
Yeah, and then even at the end of the day, too, like, I mean, we talk about Magical Express and just trying to create that entire experience, right? What separates Disney from anywhere else? It's the immersiveness, it's the experience, the things that you have. And the tram thing is always, my wife and I always had this kind of joke that we were going to retire to Disney World and we were going to drive a tram and she was going to drive and I was going to do the back or vice versa. And we were just kind of, it was like a thing. When we went, we would say it to each other and it became like part of the nostalgia of it. And I just think it's a transportation thing. I get it, but it's something that helps everybody. I mean, when we were in Hollywood Studios last summer, we actually saw an ambulance. We joke about the tram, the 5K tram thing. They literally had an ambulance where somebody was getting on a stretcher that was having trouble walking that far back and forth to their car. So it just makes way too much sense. You can't give me a good reason as to why they're not being. When we drove in Thanksgiving, we drove from WW back home and we drove by the trams that were just sitting there. It was sad, so it's great to see that it's coming back and hopefully it just continues to happen.
By the way, Archfox, don't think I didn't see your comment in chat. Just not going to repeat it. When now Desi's like, what did he say? But when I look at the other thing is when I look at the tram station that they have there, and Rob, I'm gonna come to you about this next. But this looks like an experience. I mean, this looks like, hey, somebody just put a new ride in it at the parking garage. I mean, that looks awesome, no?
It is cool because Disneyland is better usually in almost everything that they do. But the experience of starting off on the trams is awesome. But the return home is the big one for me. once you've been walking all day long in the parks, that walk back to the Mickey's garage seems like it takes days to do. And every possible pain that you have in your foot or your knee or your back just grows exponentially. It's not the way that you want to the feeling you want when you leave the park. And that's the last thing you remember, right? That feeling you had as you're leaving. It's not a very magical one when you've had to walk all the way back to your car. And in reality, probably spend some time because you couldn't find your car. It's on the wrong floor. It's just never been a really good experience.
I love that you've rethemed this to call it Mickey's Garage. Well branded. Well branded. Mickey and Friends, no. Mickey's Garage. That's
better than Florida.
That's where all the kids want to hang out, is Mickey's Garage.
It's original Mickey, and it's not the creepy new Mickey.
Well, thank goodness for that. Let's turn and talk about some of the overseas parks that we can't go to, shall we? One of them we really can't go to because Hong Kong Disneyland is still closed through April 20th and maybe beyond. How is it possible when we're doing things like lifting mask mandates, so we no longer have a mask mandate at all inside the parks other than transportation, when schools are starting to lift mask mandates, that it feels weird that there's still a park that's closed. And I feel like this was the original, right? Like, was this the first one to close, or was it Shanghai? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it.
Let's pretend like it was this one.
They closed around the same time.
Yeah, but I mean, it's weird to think, as much as I'm now like basically complaining about all these things like trams and the Main Street Electrical Parade that took so long to come back to Disneyland. There is still a park that is not open, and it's a pretty significant one. This is really the sadness, is when you see this. It looks like it's in jail.
That is sad.
That is a sad thing. I would like to go to other Disney parks someday. Hong Kong is not the one that has been on my list, but it still is very, very weird to me that there's still a park out there that's closed. I don't really know what else we would say about that, but I just felt like it was worth mentioning that was a thing. Moving over to Paris, they've got some stuff happening with the Frozen Land is on its way, and you have these silos here. I'm picturing that those silos are just full of water, and that what they're going to do is they're going to build this up, and they're just going to flood it, and it's just going to automatically look like this. That's my dream. It's the Norway journey of water. That's what that is. But I mean, I'm excited to see that, but I don't know when I'll be able to go to Paris. But the big news there is they're finally putting into action the drones, and there's a video that was on Twitter where you can see this drone making the 30. The drones making the 30 in the distance for their logo.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, they look like they're rolling out a lot of very cool things for the 30th, whereas I feel like we did okay for the 50th. I feel like they're kind of bringing it a little bit harder for the 30th. That's just the thing that, as I'm looking at this, that I feel like maybe they've got something better going on. Has anybody here been to Paris, to Disney Paris? Oh, okay. Rob, tell us that's better than Florida.
It's not.
Okay, good.
They're doing so much there, and it is a very cool park, but it's very small, and it's just not. It's even smaller. At least it felt like it was even smaller than the California parks. It's good. I mean, it's fun. I've been fortunate to go 3 times. There is a dragon under the castle, which is really cool.
Okay.
It's fun.
Yeah. I'd like to go, and I've been once, but there was no the Disney Studios park wasn't open at that point, so that's how long ago it was. But there's a lot of cool stuff about it. I want to go back to Phantom Manor because I think that I'd probably breeze through it and probably didn't take it all in. But the Mac Daddy park that I want to go to is Tokyo, and I said here, better stuff than us. So the Usitama Easter run, like this parade looks freaking fantastic. Like, I love this. And then they've got all this stuff happening for Easter which is incredible because I feel like we've got an Easter shop at Disneyland that still doesn't have Easter stuff in it yet. And, here they're talking about all of this food and merch and things that they're doing. But the thing that really puts me over the top are the popcorn buckets. What the hey, look at this thing. Oh my gosh, this is
adorable.
Beautiful. Almost worth getting on a plane and flying over there. But what I hear is it's a little bit tough to get into to Tokyo these days. So, Desi,
now you just need to just message Spencer and tell him to send it to you. I have tried going to Tokyo. I had a trip planned last year that got canceled. My husband and I are talking about booking a trip for next year, but I'm like, what's the point? We don't even know if it's going to be open next year. Who knows with Japan right now? But yeah, I would love to go to Tokyo. That is at the top of my list. Everything there looks so adorable. And Spencer tells us on a daily basis about how much better everything is there than what we have.
Dawn says Tokyo merch is really top notch. Yeah, I agree. I mean, just from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Like the only thing I've actually
food looks so good.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like amazing. The only thing I've actually got my hands on, and the only thing I ever asked for was It's a Small World popcorn bucket that I paid him to, or Venmo'd him some money to send me, which was, like the little that came out of the box. I mean, it was awesome. But Mark says Matt K says time to bribe Spencer for some. Well, here's the other thing is I'm not sure that he can get in right now.
He's in.
Is he? Okay. But there was a time where he couldn't get in because of their passes were frozen, I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
Right. So, I mean, he's over there, but I think he's, very much like the Hong Kong. He's just looking through the bars sometimes. So I know it's a sad picture. So I'm very excited to go when that happens. It feels like I said that we are lifting mandates and getting back to somewhat of normal. Concerts are happening again. Our festivals are no longer a taste of or a touch of, but they're actually full-fledged festivals again with concerts and things. So I'm very hopeful that that's going to happen soon. We'll be able to go over to Tokyo. But in the meantime, people are
You would never see peanut butter and jelly mac at Tokyo.
I bet you would. I bet you would. That's the strange kind of thing that you may actually see over there. But as much as I'm ready to go to Tokyo, I think there are a lot of people going to space right now. And so we're going to take one more quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about the things that we've seen from the Starcruiser, what to expect, get some thoughts from the panel on that. And so we're going to finish off the show with that. So please don't go away. We'll be right back.
WDWNT presents Timekeeping, a year-by-year journey through the history of the vacation kingdom of the world. Join us for the premiere Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern, or watch on demand anytime on the WDW News Today YouTube channel.
Welcome to Deep in the Plus. Each week, join host Rob Whiteside and a panel of Disney superfans as they take a different movie or TV show from the Disney Plus catalog, tell you its history, details, give their review, and let you know if it's worth your time. Current shows, classic movies, and everything in between. Watch Deep in the Plus live Tuesday nights at 9 Eastern for new episodes, or catch Deep in the Plus anytime on YouTube at unplanneddowntime.com.
Welcome back to ParksCenter. We're going to be talking about Starcruiser, the Galactic Starcruiser, and so if you guys do not want spoilers, might be a good time to just keep watching, but just cover your ears. We'll try to make sure that we don't give away anything too big. But also, if you are again still with us, thank you for being with us tonight. Please make sure to subscribe to WDWNT for more content and like this video. We appreciate it. So this week they did something very rare. They sent influencers into space. So if you were an influencer, and honestly, Disney, I'm a little sad you didn't come find me. They basically sent a whole bunch of influencers into space to try out the Starcruiser last week, with the caveat that they couldn't post or talk about anything until Friday. Not just Bruno, but anything having to do with the Starcruiser they couldn't talk about until Friday. And I think part of that was that they wanted to release that on Good Morning America and have Bob Chapek talk a little bit about it and show some stuff off before they actually lifted that, what we were calling like a press embargo. So coming up this week, our own Tom Corliss will be going into space not once but twice before the next ParksCenter, and will join us next Sunday to give us a first-hand experience of someone who actually paid cash money to get onto the Starcruiser. And that's one of the reminders we kind of have along the way, is to say that the people who are so excited to tell you about how awesome it is, they got a free ride. And so, honestly, it looks amazing. And I'm not putting that down. I think it looks so much better than what we thought when we saw Adam Goldberg tell us about it, a month ago, that made Rob go, I'm out. I mean, there's a lot of it that is that looks very cool. So we want to talk about a few of the things that are coming up, or that have come out of this, including the stuff that Disney has released on their own, and the stuff that came from influencers, and the stuff that they talked about on Good Morning America. So first question I have, though, is here's the problem that I have as a Star Wars fan / person that tries to avoid spoilers in general, is I think we're walking a thin line here, right? Between, I really want to know, is this worth the money? But I also don't want to see something that will spoil this experience for me if and when the day comes when I actually get to go. And as much as I love Star Wars and Disney, I'm still at the point where I'm like, I could sort of still take it or leave it. And as someone who decided to leave it, Rob, I'm going to start with you on this one. Because I really feel like it's important to look at this and say, where's the line between the research and spoilers for you?
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I actually booked it, and then once all those corny videos that Disney produced came out, I canceled my reservation because it didn't look to me as if, obviously we would think they would emphasize the coolest portions of it. And the things that they called out were not things that were worth $6,000 to me personally. I will tell you that for me, now that wave of content did come out, I am going to rebook. Unfortunately, I can't rebook past September, and I want to go in November, but I'm going to rebook. And it's because 100% because I saw portions of what the experience looked like. And now I feel like it'll be worth my time and money. So it was definitely a good call for them. One of the few PR things that they've done that's worked well. And not, again, I didn't rely on the reporting from those who went, because obviously many of them, their opinion will be influenced by the fact that they got to attend this session for free. But from what I actually saw, it actually made me revisit the idea, and I definitely will be rebooking.
Okay. Desi?
I'm still really sad that I can't afford to go. But it looks really cool. And I really wish that I could go, especially after seeing some of the videos. I saw one where a cast member from the First Order signed up this little kid who was he looked like he was 4 years old. And the little kid got really into it, being part of the First Order, and I just could imagine my kids doing that and having an amazing time. They love Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I loved some of the Rey and Kylo interactions that I've seen. Maybe not as much as I would have liked, but I think for the general public, they will love it.
Yeah, so here's a little bit of that, which I'm not sure that I was expecting this, the fight scenes that were happening here. So, before we talk too much about this, though, Coach, let me get your take on it, because again, you've got kids. Is this something that's on your list? Are you trying to avoid spoilers in general? Do you think you'll take them in the next year or two? Is it going to take like a Costco coupon to send you on finally? Like, what's the deal here?
Well, I think it's the price is inevitably going to go down. I think we are all kind of expecting that. Like anything else, I think there's a lot of really cool elements to this. I know the main criticism, and I've seen, obviously, so to me, it's all compared to what, right? So we ask that question all the time, compared to what, right? Perspective is everything. You've got a bunch of influencers saying, and some influencers have actually come out and tried to spin it, where if you're a diehard fan, you should go. I'm like, wait a minute, you got basically paid to go, and you're not sitting there banging your chest telling everybody they have to go. That to me is a little bit of a red flag. When you're basically a paid shill and you have to spin it to make it sound good. A lot of it looks really cool, but I think a lot of people are like, well, this is all the stuff they promised to us in Galaxy's Edge. So I'm trying to avoid as much as I can. Much like a new ride, I don't really want to know what the ride is, just that it's good or bad. I think the fact that Tom's going, and he's going twice, once is kind of in quote unquote in character, and once is sort of a quote unquote non-fan. I think that's pretty awesome. I don't know anybody else that's doing that. It's an ultimate flex for Tom to say, you know what? Not only am I not going to take your free money, not that you would have given to us anyway, but I'm going to give you the people the truth. And I think that's what WWNT is all about. We don't sugarcoat anything. So that's I'm waiting to hear from Tom, in all honesty, to see what he thinks.
Calm down, Coach. Tom doesn't watch this show. You don't need to kiss up to him. It's fine.
It's true, though. It's why everybody's here.
I'm just joking. So one of the things, though, you just said, I think is really important, that there is stuff here that was promised to us in Galaxy's Edge that we didn't get in Galaxy's Edge, which didn't occur to me until this past week, which just made me mad. Because it's like you just took everything that was going to be really cool and maybe slightly more expensive or more of a hassle than you wanted to deal with, and you put it behind a paywall. I mean, a bigger paywall, because we were already paying to get in, right?
Huge paywall.
I mean, so the things about like the roaming droids should have been a thing that should have been happening in the park. The roaming aliens should have been a thing happening in the park. The fight between Rey and Kylo, there's no reason that couldn't have happened in the park. It feels like the park was sort of designed to start that maybe during the course of the day, because Rey's running over here by Rise and, trying to keep a low profile, and the First Order is, in Black Spire Outpost and patrolling, and you would think at some point it would crescendo into at night maybe, when the lightsabers would glow, some sort of a fight scene that could happen in Galaxy's Edge. In talking with that guy you were talking about, what's his name, Tom? I was talking to him about that, and he was like, well, it has to be something to make this special, and I get that. But at the same time, the stuff that you promised us and you decided to short us in Star Wars land, now you've put into this expensive 2-day experience. Another thing that we heard, and maybe it was because they were making them work for their money, is that the people who came out of this 2-day experience were exhausted. That they got no sleep. And I think that that's one of those things where I always got dragged by my family, that like they were more tired when they came back from a Disney vacation than when they than when they left for the vacation. And so you need a vacation from your vacation. I can't imagine, though, that's the same situation with the Starcruiser, right? And Desi, I'll throw that one to you.
If I'm on the Starcruiser, I am absolutely staying up and enjoying every single moment of my $6,000 worth of money, because you've paid this much, you want to experience it the entire time. So yeah, I don't see myself getting a whole lot of sleep. Plus, I don't know how comfortable the beds are, but those tiny little bunks don't look like they would be super comfortable. I know a lot of people were saying well, if you split this 4 ways and you get 3 other friends, then it's really only 1,500 each. Okay, so you're saying I need to leave my husband and kids behind and go on this trip by myself with 3 other friends. I don't see the rest of my family being cool with that.
No, that makes perfect sense. As a matter of fact, I don't know why you haven't done that already.
All right, the 4 of us, we're all going. My
Yep.
husband would be totally fine.
Yep, that won't be weird at all.
I get the bed. You guys have to share the bunks.
Coach, it's time to snuggle up, man. It's game time.
Whatever gets it done.
Right. I don't know. I'm the same as you, though. It's like I had this conversation, like with my kids, like, are you excited about going? And I could probably do exactly what you said, find some guys that are on the blog and go and have that experience. But then I would feel bad not sharing that experience with them, because what do? You go back and you tell them all about the experience, and they're like, wow, Dad, thanks. I wish I could have gone to that. Or they're
Right?
going to, well, I mean, because we already know that Rob was going to cash in his daughter's college fund to be able to take himself. So, but the other part of that was that, then you're like, oh, I had such a good time. Let me take them back and have that experience. But I don't think the experience is going to be that different. And again, Bazemore, I'm coming to you on this one. I don't think the experience is going to be that different the second time I'm there. So how many times would you do this experience before it just becomes not special?
Well, two things. First of all, I also heard from from those who went that it was exhausting. For $6,000, I would love to have seen this be kind of a 3-day or 3-night experience for the same price, but with less activities per day. So that's perhaps a little bit less exhausting. As far as going more than once, honestly, I don't think that I would go more than one time. And I think that's going to play itself back with the promotional discounts we're going to see in the future. I bet, if you look at this year, probably everyone who really wants to go to this will probably go in this first year. And then they're going to have to start incentivizing people to want to come either again, or those people who could not afford to go to come. So I think we will, this time next year, I think we'll see some pretty serious discounts apply to it, and more of us will get to experience it. Also,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, sorry. You go ahead.
Okay. You know what would be super cool for rewritability or, coming back on is if they had different versions of it. So this is the between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker version. What if we had like a Mandoverse version where you get the Mandalorian and Boba Fett showing up at some point? What if you had the OT version where, Darth Vader comes and gets on the ship? That would make it rewritable. I get that it's not in continuity necessarily with Batuu, which is always going to be, supposedly, always going to be in that time frame between The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. But it would make people who have gone on it once and had an amazing time want to come back, because they know they're still going to have an amazing time, but it'll be different than what they've already done.
See, I think
And
the
those
problem
are the
with that
people
is
with a lot of money.
the problem with that is money, though, right? Because if they set it up and then they reset and reset and reset, and it's the same thing over and over again, and the actors have the same bits and all that kind of stuff, then it's they really, I think it would cost too much for them to do that. The only opportunity I think they have to do that is if this works well enough for them to go ahead and greenlight one for, say, California. And if that's the case, then maybe the California one, maybe they learn from Batuu and don't do two of the same, but do one that's a little bit different, so that you could have a different experience on each coast. I think that would make more sense.
I would fly to California to see Mando and Boba and be able to hug Santo.
Yeah, they did say that that Kylo was conceived on the vessel, so that there is a backstory for that time when Princess Leia and Han Solo were on the ship.
Does Kylo mention that just as he's about to battle Rey? I was conceived on the ship. I don't know. Here's the thing about Santos, though, is he going to be out there carrying luggage? No, he's not going to do that. Chewbacca's your Wookiee who's going to carry your luggage for you. Santos isn't going to do that.
I think
no,
that,
you have no comeback for that. Don't lie, you don't know. But so the other thing is looking at these others, like some of the other pictures here is, this looks pretty cool. Definitely neat to see some of these things, but like this picture could have come straight from Rise of the Resistance, like that one. But some of the stuff looks pretty nifty. But the fight scenes, I think, being able to see that, and also, when you watch the video, you can hear like the influencers going crazy about the fight that was happening. Here's a question that I have though. In the fight between Rey and Kylo, she steps out and she fires up that real lightsaber. And then before she starts smacking it around, she puts it down and picks up a real, like a solid lightsaber so she can have the battle, which the battle looked fantastic. I feel like some of the stuff that they do at Avengers Campus looks a little bit cheesy, a little bit too, we're playing it safe. This one looked like they were legit having a lightsaber battle, which I thought was cool. But if you're not using them in the Jedi training, lightsaber training, and they're not using the real ones in the fights, where are the real lightsabers other than that one moment? Where are they?
I'm not sure, but I'm kind of hoping that this was just the case of this was the first time doing it in front of a live audience. Maybe there were some nerves. I am sure that with time, this will get more fluid and won't be as awkward as that first, swap.
I don't care too much about the that misdirect. I'm just saying, if you can't use it in a real fight and you can't use it in lightsaber training, where are people using this real lightsaber? They pretty much hung their hat on this when they were talking about this experience, about the real lightsaber. Josh tomorrow fired one up. Yeah.
For cosplay, that's when you're going to use it. You're going to use it to go to Comic-Con or Star Wars Celebration, fire it up, and look cool in front of all your friends.
So are they selling them? The real ones?
I would imagine they will at some point. I can't imagine that
now.
Not happening.
But like the one that they show here, this exclusive one, so this new personalizable lightsaber debuting exclusively to Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser guests. It just says it's personalized. That has personalization options. Guests will select a letter in Arabesh to add to their new lightsaber, but it doesn't say this is one of the working lightsabers. It just says you can personalize it. It looks like just a hilt based on the ones that we get to see in other places. So I don't know. I just feel like
it was pretty cool with igniting it though. That was a cool scene when you actually saw the lightsaber extend for the first time. It was definitely a very impactful scene. Is it disappointing that you didn't get to see it anymore? And it's my understanding that the lightsaber doesn't even go down. Like someone has to manually reset the lightsaber every time it's used. But it was a cool moment when you saw it for the first time. There you go.
Let me put that one down. Let me get the real one. Fight. And again, we talk about, that's on our website, wdwnt.com, and they talk about that it was clumsy the way she did that, which is what you were addressing, Desi, and that's fine. I think that's a thing that happens. A lot of times what you may see instead is like, the actor jump behind something and then the stunt double come out and fight for a while, right? I mean, we see that all the time, this little bait and switch thing. So I'm not upset about that. The fight itself looks great. I think they did an amazing job with it. That catwalk, just again, like Avengers Campus and the main HQ building, was built for these fights to happen. It's great, and I love every bit of it. But I want to know where those lightsabers are. If we can't use them in the training lab, and if we can't see them actually using them in these fights, like where are they going to sell them to us? If so, how much are they, and where can I get one?
They're with the MagicBand Plus bands, Rob.
There we go. Supply chain issues. Gotcha. I think they jump. I guess my point is, I think they jumped the gun on that, and it is something that they can sort of show off. But to Rob's point about like somebody has to manually put it down, it sounds like it's not available yet. And then once they do, is it going to be something only available on the Starcruiser, or will they have it in Savis as well? I don't know.
Are you saying they promised something they didn't deliver on? That sounds nothing like Star Wars.
Wow. No, not Star Wars.
They've never done that ever.
Don't start Star Wars
every time
hating.
they've announced something.
No.
I am sure they will put it in Savis just because money, because they know that people might not want to spend $6,000 for a 2-night experience, but they sure as heck would spend $500 on a real lightsaber.
So they have one droid and one alien, basically, like a full-fledged alien. They've got other people in costume, but this alien with like the articulated face, is kind of awesome. I mean, I would love to see that, but again, I feel like I should have had that available to me in Batuu. So
is that Greedo's daughter?
Yeah, that's exactly who that is. Man, that's just.
Everyone's related, don't you know?
I know.
I'm curious what the capacity is on that. Like, because I would feel like if Chewie's walking around, is there like a trail of like 25 people following Chewie, going, "I want to do something with you, Chewie"? Like that to me is like there has to be some sort of a capacity limit where if you have a bunch of families, wouldn't all of the kids want to do certain stuff? That to me kind of like that's my question is how are they going to manage the crowds? I mean, I don't think the demand's going to be that high, but how are they going to be able to go? Okay, well. It's like everyone's going to want to do X, Y, Z. I know there's different options on the ship, but to me, it's on the ship. To me, there's option. Like there's certain things that once the word gets out, you have to do this, don't do that, and then I wonder if that skews it. I don't know, just a thought.
Okay, so $2 super chat. I wouldn't go even if I had the money. So I mean, there's one thing there, but yeah, that's. I mean, I think it should say a lot that I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I'm not like dying to go at this point. I mean, I'd still like to go at some point, and if somebody wanted to pay my way, I've already asked our mutual friend, and he said no, thank you. But if somebody wanted to pay my way, I would go. But I mean, here's the other thing that I want to say about this is it's a 2-day experience. And if you're a vlogger or an influencer, somebody's giving you a free trip, you're going to make time in your schedule to go take 2 days and go spend your time on this ship. But if it's precious vacation time that you have in your life and you want to go to Orlando, somebody like Rob, who's not from Florida and has to travel far to get there, will you go and make this part of like a cruise ship, part of your Disney experience, or will you do like a land in space sort of a situation, or like again, that's the part for me that I'm like, if you're taking a whole family, you really have to decide what you're doing with your money and your time, because those were both very valuable, and you have to decide, am I going to use that on this 2-night locked into this building experience? Or am I going to, get on a cruise or am I just going to go to the parks? Rob, answer all of that for me in the most condensed form that you can.
Yeah, so it is a long way to travel just for 2 nights. My plan was to do a land and space experience. So I definitely would have tacked on a couple days of parks to it. To make it worth more of my time, because I would not book and take all my vacation time and the amount of time it takes me to travel cross country to attend this just for a 2-night excursion.
Yeah. What about you, Coach?
Yeah, I think it made me laugh when they said, "Oh, you don't have to visit Batuu. You can leave Batuu and go to like Toy Story Land or the rest of Hollywood Studios." I was like, would anyone pay $6,000 and then go, "I'm going to go ride Slinky Dog"? It seems to me like their goal is to try to draw people in. Obviously, the single ticket stuff has gotten outrageous. So to me, it seems like they're trying to draw people in and make it a part of the full vacation experience. I don't know. It's just interesting to me that you leave Batuu and you show up, and then there's like a dad standing there wearing like a Universal shirt while you're waiting in Lightning Lane to go into the Starcruiser. So I don't know. It seems to me like they've thought it out kind of, but not really. And to me, it's tough to give 2 full days, and then when you've got young kids that are tired and want to sleep, but you're like, no, we're going to go to lightsaber training right now. Well, I think we may run into that, people getting exhausted,
My daughter's older, and I said to her, do you want to go? And she said, so are you stuck on the thing the whole time, or can you go spend your day in the park? And I'm like, at $6,000, you're going to stay in that ship and do everything you're freaking supposed to, like Jesse was talking about earlier.
I don't think I would get on Batuu. I would stay Batuu and going to Hollywood Studios for another day. I would spend the entire time on the Starcruiser.
But there are parts of it you'll miss out, right? Because going to Batu adds to your story. So you definitely, if you choose not to go, while you can certainly do it, it will make your story be incomplete, or you may not have access to certain activities that would happen back on the Halcyon if you choose not to.
That's the other thing. That's a good point, Rob. The reputation system, the gamification that they promised us in the parks about you're going to be in Oga's and they're going to say, "Oh, aren't you the guy that crashed the Millennium Falcon on the Smuggler's Run?" You know, that reputation system was supposed to be in place for the parks. They were like, you know what, that's not really working, but we'll save it for the ship. And now it seems like that data pad, it's all going to be about being on the ship and what you can do on the ship. And then you'll bring that experience into Batu and go back. You won't necessarily be able to have it exclusively if you're in the park, only if you're on the ship, which again seems like a jip, because that was one of the things we were promised right out of the gate. One last thing, and I want to get final thoughts from you guys because we're running over here, is that apparently the only people who have been on the Starcruiser so far are influencers, and the influencers use their influence to buy stuff and then to resell it on eBay. So, yeah, already. So, I mean, literally the first sailing is not until 3/1, so people are already selling the lightsaber, the droid, this droid on the card. I mean, that figure costs maybe $20 if you buy it. You know, if you buy one at the Droid Depot, they're charging $195 plus $20. So we know that this is where that's coming from because they've been the only ones that have been on the Halcyon at this point. So I mean,
that is so sad.
That seems like bad form. That's like if somebody invites you over to your, you invite somebody over to your house and they like take a few things and then go sell them. I mean, obviously, some of the stuff that Disney supplied them, great, but also they let them shop, and when they're in the shop, they even had to put an onboard shopping limit of 2 items per cabin limit. So.
Wow.
I gotta think they could track this, right? There hasn't been that many people. They know what was sold. I gotta think there's cameras. You would think if they're gonna crack down on eBay sellers, they might say, Well, but again, that may be the concession of them basically buying them off to write good reviews too. That might be the other side of it.
And then, yeah, my wife was was on scholarship in college, and they gave her books and as part of her scholarship, and then she would take the books at the end of the year and sell them back for cash. That's what this feels like. It's like we gave you this, and now you're going to go sell it back and make some money, even though we gave you a $6,000 experience for you to go talk about it. And, you know, I don't know how much they required them to talk about it, but when they go and they give you, I've gone on radio junkets with Disney before, and sometimes if it's a big press event, 100 Years of Magic, opening of Expedition Everest, they'll give you some sort of a press kit that they've put together. I had one for Toy Story Land when it opened up, and as a Disney fan, I don't want to give that away for anything. Like, if I sell it, yeah, I can make some money on it right now, but then I'll never have it for myself. And so it is more valuable to me as a fan to have that. And so to me, if my favorite Disney influencer is selling that stuff, they're not like me. Does that make sense? Like, I would want that stuff, and I would cherish it, and I would lay it out, and I would take pictures, and I would put it all over Instagram and go, look what I got. I'm so excited. So anyway, it's just another interesting piece to this whole puzzle. So as we wrap up, I just want to get final thoughts from everybody about the Starcruiser, this opening experience, just thoughts from you about, you know, will you, won't you, that kind of thing, and we'll start with you, Desi.
I will if I somehow come into a lot of money, if I win the lottery or something like that. But I probably won't, only because in my own personal budget, I can't afford it. If there was a scene where Kylo put Rey to sleep and then Bridal carried her out of the room the way that he does in The Force Awakens, then maybe I would consider spending the $6,000. If it was more Reylo, then I would spend $6,000. It's not Reylo enough for me to spend that much money.
It's all about Reylo for you. Gotcha. All right, Rob?
You know, I am surprised at how much better it is than I had thought it would be. Again, you would have thought that the marketing engine at Disney would have done a better job calling out the really cool things in the promotional videos, instead of turning off a lot of people like me who actually ended up canceling. I will rebook a little bit later on in the year. And I also do think that in the coming months, in probably less than 12 months, we will start to see some heavy promotional activity on the vacation. Hopefully that will allow more hardcore Star Wars fans to actually be able to experience it.
Very cool. And Coach?
Yeah, I'd love to do it. Again, issue is price, right? It's the same kind of theory I have with trying to get a lightsaber and then not showing it to my kids and going, see how cool this is? You can have one. So it's kind of that philosophy. I think I agree with Rob. I think there's going to be a ton of discounts. Wouldn't it be an idea if they gave a discount to annual pass holders, like a real one? But my guess is they're going to do something along the lines of like you had said, original Rob, about how they're going to basically do if you book a 10-day vacation, then you get a discount or a percentage off of, or if your 10-day vacation includes this experience, they'll give you, whatever. So I think we'll see some of that. In addition to, I think we'll see some of those meal plans come back in the summer too. I think they're going to try to drive people there. Just my thought.
Very cool. Davey Sitter gave us a $5 super chat. The ones, talking about lightsabers, I assume, the ones that have the beam are in the training. It was in many videos. And I think what you're talking about is in the Jedi training, they're using one where the beam does go up, but it's inside of, and here's a picture of it, it's inside of the hard tube already. It's not the one that rises up like the one that Rey has. So it's very similar to what I have from my Savi's lightsaber, where it has that hard tube, and if I turn it on, you can hear the sound, and then the light fills it up, and then when you turn it off, it goes back down again, but it's still within that. It's not the real lightsaber that they've been touting for so long. And that, again, thank you for Super Chat. That's why I have a problem with it, is it seemed to be the first thing they told us about it was, hey, this is the coolest thing ever, and you're going to be able to do something with it on the Halcyon, but whether you can buy it, whether you're going to use it, it doesn't look like it's ready. So it feels like if it was ready, every influencer would have used it in their videos. I don't think I saw a single one. So, but as soon as Desi gets her hands on one, it's going to be all over Instagram for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I want a real one, but like Kylo's. I want it to come out the top and out the sides all at the same time.
It's a good thing you temper your expectations. That's great. Good for you.
I like to dream big.
Yeah. Well, again, thank you guys for spending your Sunday night with us. We appreciate it. We always have fun talking with you. If you haven't, again, please make sure to subscribe to this channel and also hit that like button. It helps us a lot, and we are also in huge competition with Tom. So we need that love. And also it validates Desi. So if you could do that, that would be great. The other thing to mention is we have a post show for our WIGS members. We love our WIGS members. Thank you guys so much for being a member of our Patreon program. If you want more information about that, you can go to patreon.com/WDWNT. We do a post show for ParksCenter, and then also they do one for Tom's little web show he does on Thursday nights. And then we also are going to be back next Sunday when Tom will be here talking about his multiple experiences on the Starcruiser. So you won't want to miss that. Tune in next Sunday night at 8 p.m. And then also just one final plug for Deep in the Plus. To this Tuesday, we will be talking about, no, Coach, not yet. Not yet.
Oh, come on,
not
Rob.
Not yet, Coach, not yet.
Make it happen.
We will be talking.
Give the people what they want.
Free Guy.
I'll be there.
And Desi will be there. So, again, thank you to the panel. You guys are awesome. And we appreciate you. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time. Have a great week. Be safe out there.
Bye, everybody. Ba-da-da-da.